For more, we can bring in Carlo Buontempo, Director of the Copernicus Climate Change Service. Thank you so much for coming on Europe Today. Just tell us, how unusual is this heatwave for late June, and can we expect this heat to continue into July?
Well, I mean, what you were describing is the answer to your question in a sense, because the conditions are extremely unusual. We see temperature 10, 12 degrees above the normal averages for France, for part of the UK. We've seen recent days. And as you said, now that the peak of the heat wave is moving east, we are seeing record-breaking temperature affecting Eastern Germany, affecting Czechia and Poland. So this is very unusual. And at the moment, it doesn't necessarily look as the end is near. The peak maybe in Western Europe has been reached, but looking at the forecast, and for the forecast, the National Met Services are the best place to look at. There is not a clear sign for rain coming in or a massive reduction in temperature.
And based on your expertise, is it climate change making these extreme heat events more frequent and more intense?
Well, as always, it's a combination. These events, high pressure ridges extending over Europe, have existed throughout history. We have seen many heat waves before this one, starting from the famous or infamous 2003 heat wave. But this same weather pattern are now operating in a world that is much, much warmer. And Europe is warming faster than the global average. And we see this heat wave becoming more frequent, more intense, lasting longer, and starting earlier in the season.
And what are the biggest health risks, especially for vulnerable people? We've already seen the deaths that have been announced from this.
Yeah, and there is actually a paper that came out last week from a colleague of ours at the ECNWF, Rebecca Emerton, that was published in Nature. And she looked at the heat stress. And heat stress has gone up all over the globe, not just in Europe. And heat stress is a cause of death for many humans. And actually, the heat-related mortality in Europe, as the Lancet Countdown pointed out a couple of years ago, has gone up 30% in the last 20 years. So having more heat waves means that actually our own risk of facing the consequences of heat stress has gone up very significantly and will continue to go up, unfortunately, as the temperature rises, not just in Europe, but across the world.
OK, Carlo Buontempo, thank you so much for your analysis, as always, and for joining us here on the programme.